I'm James Jones, Director of the Mid-Pacific ICT Center. I'm in San Francisco at our Winter ICT Educator Conference with Dave Nelson from VMware and Rich Weeks from NDG. Hi guys.
Hey James.
Thanks for coming. You guys just presented a few minutes ago, I guess, and that went very well, and you got a great news story, and I'd like to hear a shortened version of it.
Okay.
So VMware is an amazing company whose products and services are very much in demand. Would you like to describe that for a second, Dave?
Sure. The company is now over 10 years old, and what we do is essentially we have what is known as green IT, and the notion there is that the companies that use our products have the ability of using a lot less power and a lot less floor space and other natural resources, because what they're doing is virtualizing the environment and getting the ability then of building out their IT infrastructure without having to have the physical footprint and all of the natural resources that go into feeding that. And so what has transpired here is that the company has come into a new era, and we have, through a collaboration with Cisco and EMC, we are now offering a cloud environment, kind of one-stop shopping for someone who's looking for cloud services. And this is the next paradigm and gets us to the next level in terms of the virtualization story.
So there's a couple of major trends underway, and VMware is positioned well within them. One is green IT. You know, in the past you had computer hardware and resources dedicated to specific tasks, and that was expensive because you had to buy this machinery, you had to set it up and dedicate it to this purpose, and you had to feed it electricity and cooling and so forth. The virtualization technology that VMware has provided allows you to share these resources across multiple functions, and that saves money, it saves capital, and it saves the environment. So.
Yes, indeed. And if it were only the notion of being green, I don't think that would be sufficient. It saves corporations a lot of money. And as we have discussed before, it is not unusual to see a ratio of virtual machines to physical machines that gets 10, 20, 30, 40 virtual machines on top of one physical machine. So the cost savings is enormous, and that is really what leads people. But the notion of green IT, of course, is also very, very important.
So there's a semi-selfish money-saving motivation that drives a lot of this behavior.
It makes it a lot easier to adopt, yeah.
There's an altruistic save the environment motivation, which helps a lot of people. And then there's also this sort of mega trend of cloud computing, which is rather than have everybody operate their own really expensive devices and dedicated software, let's have real thin devices out on the edge, and then we'll centralize these computing resources in a data center or somewhere. Virtualization technology allows that to happen way more cost effectively. It sort of tips the business model in favor of cloud computing rather than everybody having to buy their own laptop and whatever the big expensive devices out on the edge.
Indeed. And one of the things that has happened is we found that this paradigm is being adopted in a very wide and broad sense. And so what the result of that is that there is a demand in the marketplace not only for these products, but people that understand these products and can effectively utilize this technology. And that demand for the people with the skill set to be able to use these products has more or less outstripped our ability to provide the necessary skilled workers in the workplace, which is why we reach out to education and say, we will share our intellectual property and we will provide you with resources and help to enable you to help fill this void of not having enough skilled people in the workforce. There are many, many jobs in the workforce which require the credential that we provide through the IT Academy, and the commercial training that we do is essentially to customers that already are working with people that are employed. What we're trying to do is to bring new people into the workforce that can fill the jobs that are out there that require this credential.
And that's your role at VMware, right?
It is, yes.
What's your title?
I am the program manager of the VMware IT Academy.
Awesome. Great organization, doing really good stuff. MPICT's engaged with community college educators. VMware's hot. It's smoking hot. There's a lot of demand for this knowledge and skill set. The Academy makes it easy for community college professors to deliver this knowledge and skills education, and it's a fabulous resource, fabulous program, highly recommended. So Rich, NDG, tell us about that. What's NDG?
Well, NDG stands for Network Development Group, and NDG's been around for about 10 years. We're very popular with Cisco networking academies. We're used a lot for the CCNA security and CCNP courses in the Cisco Networking Academy program. And we met Dave about February of the past year, and we started working on a lab solution that would enable VMware IT academies to host a virtualization lab. And one of our goals was to lower the cost of ownership, because many educational institutions are very economically challenged.
Right.
So we were trying to figure out a model where we can enable an academic institution to host a VMware training center using VMware products. And we've successfully pulled that off, and we're really excited about it. It's a lot of opportunity and future potential for one school to service their students and then set up a hosted environment where they could also work with a sister school or a campus.
Awesome. That's really smart. And what's your role at NDG?
Well, I'm the president of NDG.
Awesome. So this is something we had talked about earlier, Dave. So the virtualization VMware Academy curriculum and services are hot, they're in demand. People are implementing them in response to that demand. But in the past, it's been expensive to do so, because you've had to set up a lab, and that lab requires space and cooling and dedicated hardware and so forth. And if every single school in the universe has to do that, it costs a lot of money.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. Last summer, when you so graciously hosted the instructor training that you did for the VMware IT Academy, what transpired behind the scenes there is that what we arranged for was I believe that we had 14 servers in the background that were servicing that event. And with the advent of what NDG has done, we could have easily done that with 2. So just to give you a sense as to the opportunity and how this really enables schools and enables the instructor community to be able to get a tremendous amount of leverage.
I think another value add is a lot of schools, though they might be familiar with VMware, they have to figure out how to set up that lab so that it has a user-friendly interface for the students to teach the environment.
Right.
So it's not only knowing how to implement virtualization, it's also knowing how to teach it and then present it in a fashion that students have an opportunity to learn that material in a semester or 2.
Right.
And I believe we're helping that be possible.
So you guys have put your heads together and you come up with a solution that makes this more workable for faculty.
Indeed, and I don't want to take even a smidge of credit here. What my role in all of this is to say, this sounds like a really great idea, and what do you need? How can I help you? What things can I bring to you? But all of the work essentially has been done by NDG, and they're a very capable staff.
Well, thank you, Dave. That's kind of you to say. I think that maybe you're not taking enough credit, because the cool thing and the enabling thing is the VMware software itself. And participants of the VMware IT Academy, since they get that software free, even during the development, that was a real enabler. And moving forward in the future, that's going to be a real enabler. Because the virtualization software is the key component that allows us to get high scaling ratios, like 1 server to 8 trainees in an hour block, for example. So I think that's pretty exciting for the academic community, not just for the VMware course, but potentially other courses too.
So let me see if I've got my head around all of this. So in the past, it was necessary, if you were going to teach people how the VMware virtualization solution worked, they had to come in and engage with that technology physically.
You needed a physical server.
You needed a lab. You needed a device right there that you could physically touch and play with in order to learn how to use it. And that cost money. And it also costs time and the expertise to set that up and maintain it, manage it, so that new students coming in encounter a fresh environment every time. And so now you've made some changes, and first of all, not everybody who's teaching VMware even has to have this stuff in their physical lab at all, right?
That's correct.
You can have that hosted off-site somewhere else.
That's correct.
And then I guess, so that lowers the expense to that school that's offering this training. But there's also, I guess, some other benefits that come out of this. One is a student doesn't have to actually come into this lab either. Right.
That's right. They can work from home and do the same lab experience if they were working on real server hardware in the classroom.
So if I'm in a remote location, a rural location, and I want to pick this stuff up, or let's say I work a full-time job and I can't get into that classroom when everybody else is meeting, I can still access this equipment and gain experience with it, learn how to use it.
Yeah, that's correct. In fact, in the model that we have now, a student can be on a total self-paced environment. They could be at home, all they need is a web browser, and they can access their own personal 5 virtual machines that they would use. They'd have a storage area network. They would have 2 ESXi servers, 2 Microsoft client machines, and they could go through the entire install, configure, and manage course to work towards the VMware Certified Professional certification.
That is so cool.
Yeah, another thing that I'd like to mention, and that is about the provisioning. When you ran that class last summer, what happened when we provisioned those 14 servers, we had to basically lock those down for an entire week, and they were yours. The way that NDG has implemented their solution, essentially, since this is in a virtual environment, what they can do, a student can come in and work on a lab, and then that information that is contained in what they were working on is saved for them. And now a new student can come in the next hour and bring back where they were and continue on from there. The difference is that the provisioning can be sliced and diced, so you can even cut it down to like a half an hour, and it's 24/7. So all of a sudden now you can be hosting other time zones, and you can get much more utilization out of the equipment. So it's not just the fact that you've got an 8-to-1. Think about it, 8-to-1, and then how many hours in a day, how many days in the week, and it really expands out the utilization opportunity that you have with the equipment.
This sounds like a great way of walking the talk of virtualization. You're actually implementing virtualization technology to leverage and improve your virtualization lab delivery experience for people learning virtualization.
Indeed.
It's almost like a mirror within a mirror or something.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
That's right.
Great. Well, thank you both for coming and telling this story. If there are others out here who are looking at this video who want to learn more, who want to engage with this opportunity, how do they do it?
Well, from the VMware side, if they go to VMware.com, and if they there's a string of tabs at the top, and if you mouse over Partners, that'll bring up a pop-up window that you can select the VMware IT Academy. You can also select the academic program, and so that's where that is. And then once you've selected that, it will bring up a page which will describe all of the functions and features of the program, what we do, and all of that sort of thing, and an opportunity to register. The registration process is pretty simplistic because if it takes you more than 5 minutes, you probably have done something wrong. So it's pretty easy.
I guess there's also the prospect of others recreating this kind of magic with NDG.
Yes, if others are interested in what we're doing, they can visit our website at netdevgroup.com, NETDEV group.com.
Wonderful. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good time.
Thank you.